This is WA Amateur Radio News for Sunday, May 7th, 2017.
Welcome to this week's edition of the news. This is Andrew, VK6AS, producer for this bulletin. The theme is that of Club Focus, but unfortunately the amount of material forthcoming for us to put to air has been underwhelming, significantly due to the short notice of the request by the news team as a result of a lack of our forward planning. Anyway, thanks to the clubs that have given us copy. Roy missed out last week, but he's back with a vengeance with a super edition of the Helpline. Ono has a further insight into our hobby, and I've some more from the WIA. How did you go in the Harry Angel Sprint? Don't forget to get your login. Now here's Glyn.
NewsWest is produced and presented by WA Amateur Radio News, and opinions expressed in this news may not reflect the opinion of the news team, the broadcaster, or the Wireless Institute of Australia. They are shared in the open spirit that is amateur radio.
Foundations of Amateur Radio. There's a confession I'd like to share with you. Chatting on air is something I rarely do. When I'm working distance stations, so-called DX, my typical exchange is Alpha Bravo 0, X-Ray Yankee Zulu, you're 5 and 9. If the station has some questions to ask, I'll answer, but oftentimes there's no conversation and I'll move on to the next one. Some of that can be explained by my initial training as an amateur. I started working lots of stations in a contesting environment. I took to it as a duck to water and never looked back. No doubt I have lots to learn, and I cannot guarantee that my call sign recollection is as good as I think it is, not to mention being able to detect an incorrect call sign, since I still have little knowledge in which call sign prefix, the first part, belongs to which country. Another explanation is that I'm often QRP, and just very happy to be able to make the contact in the first place. I hear stations on air having a great chat, a so-called rag chew, but I never seem to find something interesting to say or relevant story to share with a stranger. Sure, I can talk, as you might have gathered from listening to me here. I'm never short of something to say or an opinion to venture, but being sociable is not one of my stronger traits, never has been. A few of our local amateurs have a tendency to tell stories that go on for so long that they time out the local repeater, to the point where one repeater has been set to a 15-minute timeout just to cater for verbose exchanges. I immensely enjoy the stories, but often find myself wondering what I might contribute without sounding like I have tickets on myself. I recently was asked by a new amateur what to talk about. Their daily commute is a 30-minute car ride to and from work, and chatting on the repeater seems like a logical thing to do. But they asked me what to talk about. Stuffed if I know. Seriously though, the very first part of chatting is to actually turn on your radio. The next part is telling others that you're there. Then, when they do, ask what they've been up to, and before long there's a conversation underway. The funny thing about all this is that while I'm pretty quiet when it comes to being on the local repeater, I do host a weekly net for new and returning amateurs, and when asked, I'm more than capable of standing my ground and venturing my opinion. Perhaps I just need to practice more, and perhaps if you find yourself at a loose end on a topic of conversation, feel free to make fun of me, or to raise a topic that's something I've talked about. Who knows, we might both learn something. I'm Ono, Victor Kilo 6 Foxtrot Lima Alpha Bravo.
If you're a member of the WIA, then you'll have received a Memnet note regarding the audited accounts and Director's Report for the last year. If you haven't received notice, then log into the Members section of the WIA website and the annual report and accounts for 2016 are available. Mr. Waite, the outgoing president, continues to bleat about the need for audit or review. The deed between the WIA and the ACMA demands audit, and that's the end of the matter. Of greater concern is the minimalist and concealing nature of the statement. There is little detail and important matters are missing completely. One of the most serious omissions is of that of any fees paid to a director for services to the WIA. We know that a director was employed, but this is not declared. Remuneration for his employment was declared in 2015, but is missing in 2016. Failure to report such remuneration is unlawful. In the report, Mr. Waite declares falling revenue, when in fact it has increased by a small amount. There is no detail provided to allow the membership to examine sales revenue. Costs related to the engagement of 2 firms of bookkeepers and 2 firms of accountants can't be found. The costs of the WIA insurance scheme have doubled, and software maintenance dramatically increased, both without explanation. There are many other such issues. It appears to me that some costs have been defrayed into the 2017 financial year, making difficulties for the new board. Yet again, the exiting board has this veil of secrecy and fails to accept that members are shareholders and have a right to know the facts. Although dated the 26th of April, the financial statement didn't appear until after the 1st of May, and the President has put a closure date for, and I quote, questions on notice, for tomorrow, the 8th of May. First, that's not a great deal of time for analysis, and secondly, it may well be a device so that the outgoing board doesn't have to answer any questions from the floor at the AGM and neatly passes the hot potato to the new board. I wonder if there'll be anyone at the AGM representing the board who has detailed financial knowledge as required by law. I think it's unlikely that a proper question and answer session will take place. In view of this, I shall most likely be taking the same position as was raised last year, that insufficient detail on the true nature of the WIA accounts has been provided, and so vote not to accept them. In addition, I can't support the continuing appointment or remuneration of the WIA's auditors in view of the inadequacy of this report and the failing of last year's statements. If I'm carrying your proxy and you disagree with this position or wish to discuss issues with me, please be in contact. This is Andrew, Victor Kilo 6 Alpha Sierra.
Club Focus. I was once asked to become a member of an incorporated body, and when I attended a meeting I was amazed at how dysfunctional the group was. Before you speculate over which amateur radio group it wasn't. This was before my amateur radio days. Back to this dysfunctioning organisation. What made it interesting was that the service provided by this organisation was good, but the cracks were showing in its administration. The chairman was being blamed for everything that wasn't working, people were arguing about who was right and who was wrong, and an employee was suing for wrongful dismissal. You can understand my apprehension when I was asked to nominate for president at the forthcoming AGM. So I nominated for president, and with the predictable lack of competitors, I was elected. I called a committee meeting, and 2 minutes into the meeting I could see what the problem was. To cut a long story short, this group, although providing a reasonable service to its target group, had no plan or vision to guide them and support the work. Committee members were pulling in different directions and were clearly unaccustomed to following a structured agenda at meetings. Meetings seemed to take a long time to get nowhere. At the next couple of committee meetings, I talked to the committee about the need for the committee and indeed the whole membership to have a clear and shared understanding of where the group was going and how it would get there. To achieve this, I conducted a planning day and I took a group through various processes that identified what the group should look like, how its services ought to be provided, and how this would be supported financially. Also, very importantly, we made lists of things that would block our way or impede our progress towards achieving our targets. The next part was important. We looked at each of these obstacles and put them into categories ranging from "we can fix that easily right now" through "that can be fixed with help" to "out of our power to fix." This helped us understand which things we could achieve and to avoid wasting time, money and energy. This process gave us a basis for the formation of a strategic plan, which outlined how we would go about our work, how the work would be developed, and how we would support the work with a sound asset management and financial plan. From that point on, meetings became a pleasure to run, because the business of the committee was to gauge how we were going compared with the plan, and ironing out any kinks in the plan. Having agreed goals and a clear vision enabled the group to get on with its work, without the distractions of messy meetings and members pulling in different directions. I'm Ono, VK6 FLAB.
This is NewsWest, the weekly news for the VK6 area, brought to you by VK6 WIA.
Ham College will meet on Tuesday the 9th of May at 6 p.m. at the Linwood Scout Hall inside the Whaleback Golf Course in Parkwood. The college held a successful foundation course on the 29th and 30th of April, where 6 students had a fun weekend. 3 assessments were performed late on the Sunday afternoon and 3 more on Saturday the 6th of May. The standard course continues, and with the regulations assessment all successfully completed, we expect the students to sit for their standard certificates of proficiency in June. There are still vacancies on the advanced course that starts in July, so please express your interest via the college website. Our next foundation course is on the weekend of the 17th and 18th of June. At present this appears to be full, but as people frequently can't make it at short notice, a waitlist is open. The college is pleased to remind you that the information beacon on frequency 145.575 MHz is up and running. The WIA News, NewsWest, RAOTC are all featured, as is information about local amateur radio clubs, Ham College courses and exam dates, how to get involved in amateur radio, and any other relevant information. Clubs can have their contact information and any news or upcoming meetings or events hosted on the beacon by sending an audio file, preferably in MP3 format, to the content manager, Neil VK6 BDO. His details are on the college website. Ham College is always interested in signal reports from listeners to gauge propagation. Please send any reports also to Neil VK6 BDO. Please include the time, location and any comments. Many thanks go to Doug VK6DB and Ben VK6LVI for their efforts in bringing this project back online. All information regarding the college is available online at hamcollege.com.au. On behalf of the President Doug VK6DB, this is the College Enrolments Officer Andrew VK6AS.
F-Troop is a weekly net on Saturday morning for the new and returning amateur. The net runs for an hour from 8 a.m. local time, midnight UTC, and has been running since 2011. Since then, we've managed over 300 hours of amateur radio fun and discussion, welcomed over 400 different amateurs to our net, and celebrated many first on-air experiences. F-Troop is on VK6RLM on 146.750 in Perth, available via All-Star Link, Echo Link and IRLP, and many repeaters across Australia. If you'd like to know more, visit ftroop.vk6.net for the details on how to join. Don't be shy, you'll be surrounded by friends. F-Troop every Saturday morning from 8 a.m. or midnight UTC.
News from WA VHF Group. In June, that's a few weeks from now, the group will be marking its 700th meeting. From its foundation in 1955 at Ron Mould's VK6 FM's home to its current home at Wireless Hill. Celebration details are still being scratched out. I'm hoping for a good event. The next activity day is Saturday, 10th of June at 2 p.m. at the Operator's Cottage. Monthly meetings are on 4th Monday at 7:30 p.m. for an 8 o'clock start at the Operator's Cottage opposite Wireless Hill Museum. There is normally a short meeting, tea and coffee break, then a tech talk. All members and visitors are welcome. The Wireless Hill Museum still has their exhibition going. They have partnered with the Morse Codian Fraternity of WA. It's called The Wire, A History of Morse Code in WA. There's a good spread of Morse code keys, and you may like to have a go at decoding the messages on the picnic tables surrounding the museum. Worksheets at the main counter. Door at the museum are open Wednesday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m, and Sunday 12 noon to 4 p.m, until the 2nd of July. Becoming a member of WA VHF Group is easy. It's 2 shillings and 6pence. Hang on. That's if you were around in 1956. In 2017, that's $25 Metro and $22 Country. Come to one of the meetings or the activity days and find out what we do. It may be a little different from 1955, but it's still all about radio. More information can be found at www.wavhfgroup.org.au. Yeah, didn't have websites in 1955. How did you guys talk to one another? It was radio or carrier pigeon, wasn't it? I think that's all from me. 73. From Ty, VK6 Hotel Tango Yankee for the WA VHF Group.
The next monthly meeting of the Bunbury Radio Club will be held on Saturday the 13th of May 2017 from 2 p.m. at 21 Halsey Street, Bunbury. In addition to the regular meeting, Richard VK6PZT will be talking about his experiences in operating QRP-CW. Visitors to their meeting are very welcome. The club is starting to make progress in reinstating their licence assessment program, with Murray VK6HL applying to be recognised as a WIA assessor. With his teaching qualifications, they have high hopes that the process will be swift and successful. The ability to run these assessments has been valuable in many ways, including recruiting new members and providing a convenient service to potential amateurs in the region. The Bunbury 2-metre repeater, VK6RBY, is now back on the air at long last, following storm damage to the shack. Receive sensitivity is approximately 0.4 microvolts, with a transmitter power output of 48 watts. Morse identity is VK6RBY at 25 words per minute. The repeater had some parts that need to be replaced, including the front-end transistor that was making the repeater deaf on receive. It also required a thorough cleaning. A hole that mice had used for their R&R has also been sealed with a metal grill. The door has also been fixed and is now waterproof. Thanks to Bob, VK6TJ, Alec, VK6APK, and Neville, VK6JDW, for their hand in reinstalling the repeater and weatherproofing the shack. Alec, VK6APK, continues to organise monthly ham and cheese social gatherings. These are gathering momentum with steadily increasing number of members attending. The gatherings are not limited to Bunbury, but will be held at various regional locations in the southwest. The program for the next month is as follows. In June, with a talk by Brian, VK6HBS, on the FT1200, and in July, the club's annual general meeting. Thanks to Norman, Victor Kilo 6, Golf Oscar Mike, for submitting this story. I'm Glyn, VK6PAW.
WA Amateur Radio News is the association that produces the weekly news in Western Australia to continue the tradition of amateur radio news since 1931. In addition to the news, we update and maintain the VK6.net website, host amateur radio sessions and promote amateur radio to the wider community whenever we can. If you'd like to help out, update the website, do some graphics, make some theme music, write some material, share your experiences, or participate in the news production, we'd love to hear from you. Get in touch. NewsWest@VK6.net is the address to use.
This from Phil, VK6KHV of the Northern Corridor Radio Group. The NCRG will be arranging AR courses in the second half of this year, north of the river. Course dates are still to be confirmed and will be advised in future news items and on the NCRG website. Foundation courses will be first off the rank, with further training in due course for standard and advanced candidates. Exams will also be available following each course. Keep an ear out for further information in the not-too-distant future. Thanks, Phil.
On behalf of the West Australian Repeater Group, Anthony, VK6AXB, advises that WARG now have a new committee, following the AGM which happened on Monday the 1st of May. Ray, VK6ZRW, is again President, with Barry, VK6SP, as Vice President. Anthony, VK6AXB, continues as Secretary, with John, VK6JAH, again wearing two hats, doing both Treasurer and Membership Officer jobs. Bob, VK6ZGN, is still the Technical Officer, joined by Matt, VK6ML, as the Digital Officer, with Martin, VK6ZMS, Peter, VK6PM, and Trevor, VK6MS, continuing as committee members. All members were elected unopposed. The meeting thanked Chris, VK6PII, Duncan, VK6GHZ, and Stephen, VK6FTOW, or VK6VHZ, for their service on the previous committee, with a vote of thanks being passed by acclamation, and the new committee wished well for their work. The AGM also adopted updates to WARG's rules and constitution to comply with the new rules for incorporated associations. WARG is grateful to the team at NewsWest for putting this to air.
You're listening to VK6 Amateur Radio News. This is VK6 WIA.
And now to amateur radio meetings across VK6 for the next week, with a busy start to the week. The Northern Corridor Radio Group gather today as we go to West Sunday morning with their weekly get-together from 8:30am. You'll find them in the Neil Penfold State Amateur Radio Centre, the northern end of Whiteman Park, access via Nangara Road. Weiss and the Wireless Institute Civil Emergency Network meet Monday night 7:30 to 9:30pm at 14 Henley Road, Ardross. The Radio Old Timers Club of WA meet for lunch at the Bayswater Hotel 12 till 2pm on Tuesday. That's opposite the Bayswater train station at Beechborough Road in Bayswater. Ham College meets Tuesday night 6 to 7pm at Linwood Scout Hall inside the Whaleback Public Golf Course, which is on Whaleback Avenue in Parkwood. Parg, the PL Amateur Radio Group, have their general meeting Tuesday night 7 till 9pm at SES headquarters, now located at 31 Education Drive, Greenfields in Mandurah. Prawnheads gather for lunch on Wednesday. Meet the crew for 12 noon at Fee Fi Fo Fum, 123 Rockaby Road in Subiaco. Haag, the Hills Amateur Radio Group, meets Saturday afternoon 2 till 5pm at the Paxhill Guide Hall, corner of Sanderson and Brady Roads in Lesmurdy. Also at 2pm Saturday afternoon, the Bunbury Radio Group, supporting radio enthusiasts in the southwest, meet at the QDH of Richard, VK6VRO, at 21 Halsey Street in South Bunbury. If you think we've missed something or have updated information, please let the NewsWest team know by emailing newswest@vk6.net. So that's meetings for the week, but I've got another great event to pencil into your diary while I still have the mic from Andrew. On the 27th of May here in Perth, or to be more specific, the 26th of May Ontario time, Reg VK6BQQ will be running the 800th Friday Night TechNet. For years we've heard the net at 9am or 0100 UTC on VK6RFM, or more recently on VK6RLM on the TechLink conference and on IRLP node 9229. Not only is 800 a major milestone, but thanks to John, the manager at the Aviation Heritage Museum, run by the WA RAF Association in Bull Creek, Reg will be operating the net on the 27th of May from inside the Lancaster bomber at the museum. It's a great opportunity to promote amateur radio, the museum, and to help Reg celebrate the 800th TechNet milestone. Take a look at VK6BQQ on QRZ.com, the WA Aviation Heritage Museum, or on the links for this story on VK6.net. 73.
Over to Roy.
Greetings once again, fellow amateurs and shortwave listeners. Helpline 2007 for the 7th of May. Today I have the following item from John. VK6 Alpha uniform. It has a 3-element HF beam antenna, presently horizontal at 60 centimetres off the ground. It's only half a metre off the ground, and at that height still works very well. Has contacts on it. And to test out on the analyzer, all the bands are spot on. He's asking 675 for that 3-element tri-band antenna, and it may be easily disassembled for transporting or freight to your QTH. And don't forget it's in Australian dollars, which are somewhat less than the US dollars, and makes it more attractive. This is a good antenna, so if you're interested in it, please contact John. His email address is Alpha Sierra Alpha Lima India number 2 at westnet.com.au. I'll say again, Alpha Sierra Alpha Lima India 2 at westnet.com.au, and his telephone number is 0892917908. Again, 0892917908. And now I'll go on with last week's items, which I did record, but I missed the boat. I missed the cut and didn't go to air, except from a few selected relay stations. So here we go with last week. Good morning and greetings to all. This is Roy, VK6 X-Ray Victor, with the helpline for the 30th of April, the last day of April. And today I have for you an apology for last week, firstly, for missing a couple of items last week, and I got hauled severely over the coals by Neil, VK6NSB, for doing so. Thank you, Neil. I needed that, a good waking up. And today I'm fully awake at 2 o'clock in the morning. Oh, well, that's my time of day. With the item for today, we got one from Neil, first off. I've got a Kodan 8528, says Neil, with an A option, lower sideband in other words, and a remote head. Can be used with or without the remote head. Comes with a mobile mounting cradle. Unit has been checked thoroughly and serviced by RFWA. Asking 800 dB for that unit. Contact Neil on his email address, which is kenwood520@hotmail.com. That's the only address I've got here for him. Again, that's kenwood520@hotmail.com for that Kodan 8528 transceiver with A option lower sideband remote head. Next item is from Craig, VK6 Oscar Kilo. Comes from Craig, IC. Why am I repeating myself? I don't know. It's an ICOM IC710 HF 6 metre, 2 metre, 70 centimetre. All-mode transceiver. It's got just about all the bells and whistles you'd ever need, including extra for AB5N upgrade Hotel Mic 151 microphone, whatever that means. It's asking for that item 1300 dB. There's also an MFJ 1788 15 to 40 metre magnetic loop antenna, asking 500 dB for that. Contact Craig on his electric telephone, which is 0407 366 070. That's Craig, mobile phone number 0407 366 070. Next item I have is a Kodan 8525 transceiver. It's minus a microphone, powers up okay and does transmit. asking only $20. Capable of 100 channels. It comes from Jesse and Jane, VK6JES. Contact Jesse on his electric mobile 0437 789 246. Again, that's 0437 789 246. As for Jesse, that's all I have for this week, I believe. I'll just have a quick check. No, I have one more. Item. It's a Omnia Proficio software defined radio transceiver in display case for sale. This is a test transceiver built to confirm the latest batch of boards were okay and up to specification. It is fully built and tested, covers all modes 160 meters through 10 meters into a 5-watt output, with 5-watt output, should I say. Interesting item to grab hold of. Asking 350 dB for that. Contact Richard, VK6 Fox Romeo. His email address is that VK6FoxRomeo at iinet.net.au. Again, that's Victor Kilo 6 Fox Romeo at iinet.net.au for that software-defined radio transceiver. And that does conclude the helpline for this week. If you have any items for next week, please contact me, VK6XRayVictor at bigpond.com. 73 till next time, from Roy, VK6XRayVictor. Cheers for now.
Thanks, Roy. The WIA AGM takes place at 9 a.m. Adelaide time, that's 7:30 a.m. Perth time, on Saturday the 20th of May in Hahndorf. I've been informed that this will be live streamed. For those of you that miss it, I'm sure that coverage will appear on the internet for download afterwards. To my knowledge, 4 individuals at least have put up motions on notice to the AGM, but the Secretary has advised that, on advice being taken, these motions won't be discussed, but that answers to some of the questions may be provided in due course. He also states that the requests for information, as in the motions, will be provided to the new board if answers can't be given. All of the motions relate to the actions, inactions and incompetence of the board that has roundly been voted out of office. This is yet another attempt to avoid scrutiny and to be held responsible for what is close to destruction of the WIA. If you're a member of the WIA and you believe that the motions published on VK6.net have merit, and you want answers at the AGM, please be in touch with the President, Mr. Waite, and the Secretary, Mr. Linton, via the WIA office, and let them know your feelings about discussion being stifled. The AGM is, after all, the only time that members have the right to question the board, and this is being denied. Everyone should be supportive of the new board. I certainly am, but I still believe that the true situation of the WIA needs to be declared to the membership, and that means the new team can't be blamed for the incompetence of their predecessors. Thanks for listening to this edition of NewsWest. Thanks to Onno, Roy, Glenn, Abby, Ty, Phil and others for their contributions. We look forward to bringing you the news next week at the same time. Please forward any material that you'd like to get put to air to newswest@vk6.net. This is Andrew, Victor Kilo 6 Alpha Sierra, and it's been my pleasure to bring the news to you this week. Have a safe week ahead, and 73 from me.